Hi there, Simon Biltcliffe, Chief Exec of WebMart. Hadn't realised I'm live, but I'm live. Anyway, I've got a presentation I'm going to do now about the modern version of printing. Printing has been around, as we all know, for many, many years. And through the digital tsunami that has come and been reinforced by COVID, it's been a really interesting time to see how we can deliver an exceptional physical marketing medium using a significant amount of the data that you have now in your eCRM. So I'll run through this presentation with you. There's going to be a short Q&A at the end, but if anybody wants to get in touch with me after you've thought about it, I'm on LinkedIn. There are two Simon Biltcliffes, and the other one is a plumber. So if you feel free to reach out, as they say. So this is the kind of subject matter area I'm going to be talking about today. Could integrating with the old media be a new way forward for e-commerce? And e-commerce, we know, has had a huge boost during the COVID times and will continue to transitionally have a significant impact on the way that we buy things and transact with things. But what we found is the blended approach of on and offline is fantastic. So this is what the kind of speech is about, just to kind of open your eyes if you've never used print before. If you have used print, use it in a new way. And what I'll try and do is go through the kind of old preconceptions. You used to have mail order companies, and they dealt with, physical media as the way to get customers. And these were really mass volume kind of productions that used to send the same stuff to everybody, irrespective of what their need was. But what you tend to find now is that obviously, if you send a non-targeted form of communication through a physical, form, be it direct mail, catalogs, brochures, whatever, it has less impact. And so that's the way it used to be. And quite often it was very expensive because you had to do significant amounts of volume to make it cost effective. It was rather inflexible, huge amounts of time to get it onto press and to distribute it. It was perceived as bad for the environment and had a long lead time, all of which, obviously, compared with digital, it seems kind of dumb to go down this route. The challenge is that obviously there's a huge amount of digital media now. I mean, how many times do you get communications digitally well, all the time? But if you get something that's physically targeted to you through the post, you always look at it. Whereas all of the other stuff, you're getting minor, if you like, totally overloaded with email marketing, Insta posts and all of this kind of stuff. It's not to say you shouldn't do it, but it works together in terms of brand building. If you have your physical medium, then it allows you to have cut through in others. And this is where it's working in collaboration together, the online and the offline world. It is a tangible thing, and the metrics are such that it stays around much, much longer. I mean, like quantumly longer than a digital message. It has cut through because people will look at it. People will open an envelope. People will actually take in the information. It really does reinforce the digital efforts that you're doing, and it gives you the ability to get those haptics, the tangible. It has provenance about it. So if you have something that's in your hand that's been printed with a brand on it, it has more gravitas than if it's just another kind of email that comes in on your thing, or an Insta post, or your your other digital marketing. It very much complements. It works together as a brand building exercise, as well as getting the message across. Even if the attribution for the actual purchase, if you like, will go through digital channels, you can see how you can actually get significant amounts of opportunity through doing the physical media as well. And how do you do this? Well, now it's changed from if you like, a mass market approach to really targeted individual magazines for an individual person, targeted catalogs for the individual person, because you've got on your CRM all of the data that you need to do that. And so what we tend to do is, if you're on a client acquisition strategy, we profile that data into archetypes, and then we match that with geo-targeting for unaddressed mail. So in the GDPR world, where you've got to be very careful about this, what we can do is target to the address rather than to the individual at the address. So you've got the demographic information, the lifestyle information, and then do a personalized mailing, but not with a person's name on it, but through the letterbox of the household. And that allows you to have a very targeted, low-cost way of getting your message, physical message, through to people. Also, a lot of people look at direct mail as something that banks do and what have you. We're having huge success with companies that are using direct mail for not just landing new customers, because obviously you've got to get that buy-in for GDPR, but expanding the product range. Once you've got a customer, how do you expand the products and services that you do to it? By having a personalized piece of direct mail to say, well, you've used us for this, have you thought of that? All of a sudden, the cross-selling is really powerful on that. And lastly, programmatic. A lot of people are used to digital programmatic, abandoned baskets, and your order details and all of this kind of stuff. But you can do exactly the same in a physical form. So you can automatically trigger it out of your CRM. And we have the batch size of one. So if you're dealing with on a B2B basis, you may not have a big volume, but you can automate it so it sends out a letter in an envelope to your customer programmatically with no effort at all. On the other end of the scale, we work with large companies who may do 20,000 or up to 100. The biggest we do is around 160,000 a day of programmatic mails for certain key points in the buying cycle or the cross-selling cycle to either nudge their consumer or to cross-sell and upsell other things, or just to show appreciation and say thank you very much. It's really we really appreciate your order, and it has again much more gravitas if it comes through the post than just an email alone. If you look at these in detail, the magazine personalized version of the old style mass circulation, it has so much more cut through and cross-selling in there. The example here is Net-a-Porter, who said 85% of their customers are obviously digital natives, but this is a hugely influential brand building exercise for people to cross-sell their product ranges to people. So you make sure that you've got in the kind of stuff that you know that they're like, but propensity modeling you can put into the physical form as well. And there used to be a challenge with sending it out in plastic. If you remember, you used to get your magazines with plastic wrap on it. Now you can either send it out naked, as it's called, so with no wrap on it, or you can put it in paper wrap instead of plastic, which allows you to have a very personalized message on the front to the individual. So it's fully recyclable, which obviously helps the environmental credentials of it. Asos is another company that has used it. It has become the widest circulation fashion magazine in the UK. And this is for digital natives. This is for the, Gen Z as well as the millennial generation who actually really appreciate getting it. And of course, because it is distributed in box, so with the fulfillment of the actual order, there's no incremental delivery cost either, which is just a very useful thing. So in-box promotion using print is significantly beneficial. Also, if you've got a non-competing brand that you would be interested in partnering with, that's a great opportunity. So, for example, if you sold shoes, but you didn't sell, you sold sports shoes, but you didn't sell supplements for, energy supplements or whatever, you may want to partner with a company who does that product range and drop it into your box so that they get a distribution channel, and they will do the same for your work as well. So it's kind of almost a list swap, as you used to be able to do in pre-GDPR days that you can't do anymore. But now you can actually just put a leaflet or a magazine into a box and the fulfillment, and that gives you a great opportunity to actually increase your reach and still be GDPR compliant. Other couple of examples of people using magazines are Airbnb. They do it for both the hosts. I'm an Airbnb host up here in God's County in Barnsley. So I get a magazine with great tips as to how to be a great host. And also they do it for end consumers. So you can do it as a reward and a loyalty scheme for people who contribute most. And this is dynamic content to the individual. Casper Mattress is an online kind of provider of bedding and stuff, and again, they can deliver the magazine when they deliver the mattress to you. They deliver a magazine as well, which again gives you an opportunity to cross-sell new product, maybe kind of linen or whatever, as well to the existing customers. Catalogs. Catalogs used to be these great big thick things that were not very targeted, but what you tend to find now, it's a very different approach to it. It integrates with a website, so you can have graphic devices, either QR codes or other less visible ways of responding through your smartphone into a website as a call to action for more detail. Or so you can have a video, or you could have an actual order from it. It really does work well with emails, so you can either do a teaser before it drops with digital media, and then when it drops, you've got the ability to follow up. So it's that hybrid approach again, and again, really, really targeted. So if you know what your customer type is, so let's say it's a kitchenware catalog, you can make sure that if you know this person likes this kind of as bought before, you can make sure that you do a complementary range of products specific for that individual customer. And again, you can cross-sell in other companies that may offer complementary services, because you're printing personal magazines and personal catalogs for that individual. So it can be really targeted cost effectively. A new modern printing press, just to give you some idea, can print 1 million pages of fully personalized data an hour in full color. So this is white paper going in, and everything that comes out of it is personalized to individual. It's huge scale of personalization that you've got, because you've now got huge quality data in your CRM, and you need to be able to do it at scale and at speed. And so if you're looking at 1 million pages an hour coming off one of these presses, as soon as you've got those triggers, it can go straight onto press and straight into the post, and it delivers really quickly. We do an online greetings card company, which we can take orders up to 9 o'clock at night and deliver it the next morning through Royal Mail, because of the very tight logistics that we've got. So these are where it's absolutely, absolutely critical that you work closely with your supplier, because you can get that level of responsiveness in a physical marketing form that you couldn't do a couple of years ago. So fingers crossed. If there are many providers out there, and you may well deal with them. But if you're a digital marketer and you've never used physical form, it can be really scary. I mean, it is because it is a physical thing. It gets sent out at speed and whatever. You probably want to partner with an agency, obviously like ourselves, but there are many agencies that have got real skill set and project managers who can help you through that transitional journey into using print for a first time. Harvard Business Review just did a survey on the use of hybrid digital media and physical media, and it said, well, the details are there. 49 uplift in sales and 125% uplift in inquiries by using them together versus a standalone. The Economist, which is one of my favorite all-time magazines, and if you don't read it, you should, has a really good way of engaging you on a daily basis with messages, really current messages, and then you have deeper messages through the physical medium of the magazine. And a lot of e-com businesses are using that same thing, the immediacy of the digital media, but then they have a richer, fuller, deeper conversation in the physical world. And then again, it went back at 28% increase in sales and 77% lift in inquiries against a standard of just email alone. We tend to blank out, even if we get to see them. Occasionally, I look in my spam filters, and there are so many emails that I might have actually hit me once, and I say, right, unsubscribe, I've had enough. And if not, or I might just say, spam filter it. And it might have just hit me at a bad time, and I actually might be quite interested in the product, but I just couldn't be. I was busy and all that kind of stuff. Once you've lost that communication through email, you're dead to me. I never even think about you. However, if you get something through in the post, I will always look at it. So it's a great way of reactivating people who've been over-emailed in your communication channel. Mail. If you've not come across something called JIC Mail, JIC Mail, it's well worth having a look at. It gives you the actual metrics for the dwell time of mail in the household, and where it physically moves around the household. So people will initially do it, and then it'll move it into the kitchen, and somebody else will pick it up, and all. It's a fascinating journey. But bottom line, return on investment, it's got 35% better recall than social media, and it has nearly half as much again compared with email, because you're engaging many more senses than just visual. Because you've got the tangibility of it, etc., etc. So it's kind of common sense, and it works with your intuition. You know that when you get something through, you look at it and you take it. But even if you don't want it and you recycle it, you've still got the retention of that. Whereas a delete of an email or a scroll through on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever, it doesn't really have that kind of connectivity with you at a human level. Door drops, we've seen such, as you'd imagine, really, with a lot of people working at home. We've done a huge amount of door dropping. And a campaign to work out the demographic targeting of a door drop used to be quite a labyrinthine thing. You can now do it within an hour. You can have done from starting, you can do your geo targeting, you can do your demographic targeting, you can upload your artwork, and that actually the fastest I've seen somebody do it was less than 8 minutes. But if you've never done it before, it's really easy to do. And so all of a sudden people are testing it. So they're doing regional testing, A/B testing for with and without door drop. And that has made a significant difference to the way that they get cut through a client acquisition. So I'll not read it out to you there, but there's lots and lots. It's much more targeted. I think the smallest batch size you can get down to now with what's called partially addressed mail, which is targeted mail at an address level, not at a personal level. So it's GDPR compliant, of course. Is around 13 households. So you can make it really targeted to the kind of people that you are wanting to target. So if you've got somebody on that road that's ordered from you, chances are people along that road are going to be of a similar ilk. There is even things like we've got data services for the size of somebody's back garden now, because you've got satellite imagery. So we know if you're, for example, if you're doing home improvements and you're selling either patio sets or conservatories, you can actually target based on the size of the back garden of the people that you're looking to get. So you can be really quite specific in the way that you use the data sets and bring it with other commercially available data sets and still be GDPR compliant to deliver a targeted message to the household that you want. And that's why door drops have really, and door drops used to be, you had to blanket bomb a whole area, but now it's really targeted, and it obviously complements any other media that you're doing by radio, TV. Again, it's that brand building thing. And in the world of so many different people doing so many, so many similar things, if you've got something with tangibility, it gives you and your brand provenance. It actually says, well, actually, they are, the real deal. And you can have a look through it, and it has more of a kind of physical engagement as well, obviously, but a emotional engagement with your brand because of that. And then when you get it reinforced with outdoor advertising, what have you, it really does have impact. Direct mail is a one-to-one communication where it is, you've got to obviously have GDPR compliance, as we have in all things. So you have to have the opt-in. But if you're a customer, or you've got a reasonable chance of being legitimate interest is a very useful phrase, that there's a reasonable chance, particularly in B2B, you can go into that and say, well, beyond reasonable chance, you can use direct mail to get cut through, and people will open it. And that's where it has, you can have a more finesse message than you would have on a digital media with a small screen rather than a big format, A4 format or something like that. Hyper personalization. We do some mailings now for a food company, food retailer, because they know what people buy, that individual person buys. Then all of a sudden they can have we do 15 different areas of individual personalization based on the buying habits of that person. And as a consequence of that, they get such a high return. I can't give you details of the ROI on it, but you have very clearly attributable return on investment because you do it for. Sorry, I've got a workman in that's making a noise, so I apologise for that. But because you've sent out that personal message, and you can do an A/B test against people who you don't send the physical form out, you get an exceptional return. And again, because it is programmatic, as in you can do the parameters, you can then put artificial intelligence and machine learning into that program to do the return on investment and to self-learn. And an AI plugin can be done into your ECRM and your kind of management data system can be done in a couple of days now. It used to be huge amount of impact that you used to have to do to get the information feed and to start to learn, but it can happen virtually straight away now, which is absolutely new. So that's something you may want to think about. You've got huge amounts of data. You can't interrogate it all. You haven't got the data analyst skills to do all of this every day. So you now need machine learning to help finesse that message to get the better return on investment that you could, the best one that you can get from the data set. And it's an ever-moving feast, and that's fascinating. So you can have all of the feedback, data feedback, you do the modeling, and then you're constantly learning. Every day you're learning about how you can get better cross-selling or a better yield from your customer base by delivering them more relevant offers. At the end of the day, that's what you can do. But you can do it at scale now. And as I say, going back to it, 1 million pieces of mailings an hour from one press. And obviously there are multiple presses in the world to do this kind of thing. Programmatic mail. is that trigger-based thing. It reduces abandoned baskets, which is just one example of how you actually impact it. But all of those trigger points. What about every time it's your client's birthday, if you've got their details, that's it, or at least your anniversary of trading with them, which you certainly will have. What about a threshold of a certain value that they've given to you as an appreciation that you can do? Or if there is, there is a particular product that you think if they've bought this, then that. All of that kind of thought process, you can automate it so it feels special, it feels personal, it looks really good. You can do it with signature scripts, so you can do it so it actually physically looks like somebody's handwritten it. And some of this stuff is that good, I defy anybody to be able to tell if a person has written it or a machine has written it. It is that good. Now you wouldn't do that for a myriad of, from a million, because it would take too long. But the machines are out there to do that. So if you've got a high value client and you want to say, I really appreciate it, it can emulate an actual letter written by an actual person. It's that good. And so it really has got that kind of engagement piece. So instead of just an email saying your job thing is going to be delivered now and whatever, and is it all right, the returns are all right, or can you do this or whatever, which it is a functional thing, but it's, as we all know, email is not an emotional medium. You always read it in the least emotional way that you can. If you send something through, it can be, you're perceived as angry even if you haven't done it. Whereas if you have a nicely produced piece of mail that comes through and whatever, people feel very benevolent towards the sender. And if you could, so the more that you personalize, the more you build that into the thing, and obviously your agency or your printer can advise you if you deal with that. You can make it haptically, as in tangibly, and very, very appealing to open it. That experiential thing, it can be really kind of powerful to deliver a feeling of belonging, if you like, to your customer. I'm working with a football team to work through that, to get average season tickets kind of stuff up, and all of this kind of stuff to get better fan engagement. It gives you a great opportunity to deliver an exceptional lifetime value, and that's what we're all after in most businesses. It's not just that one-off transaction, it's how do you build from there into the lifetime value of the ideal customer within your market sector. And programmatic is fantastic to, without having to think about it as a marketer or a sales team, appreciating the customer. Most customers leave because they feel lack of appreciation. If you can use programmatic mail to deliver that appreciation for you in an automated way, you get best of both worlds. You don't have to take the headspace to do it other than set up in the first place, and then you can use it multiple times. You can scale your benevolence to your customer base. And of course, so there are 4 basic programs that we work. Land is client acquisition, which is more door drop and direct mail. Expand is cross-selling, which could be direct mail or programmatic. Reactivate is where you, obviously, people have fallen out of love with your brand. You want to have certain triggers. So programmatic is fantastic for this. We miss you. An offer for coming back and reusing. So reactivation and referral. People who love you already, how do I get more of those? Well, you ask them to ask their friends, because they will know people like you, either in a B2B or a B2C world. It doesn't matter. We've all got networks that actually we have people who could use the service, that if we like it a lot, we will refer it on. And if you can have a little prompt, I mean, the utility companies are particularly good at this, and banks. If you refer a friend, then you get 100 quid off or whatever. Most companies don't do that similar kind of system, but you should. And this is where cross-selling as well, or swapping physical media with a complementary brand gives you a great opportunity to expand your ecosystem. And we can facilitate those interactions, and many agencies can, in terms of the inbox promotional third-party inserts. That's what it's typically called. So it's really exciting time to get involved, and a limitless opportunity. Most new brands don't use it. They don't know. Nobody in their business has got a clue about printing, and so they go, whoa, 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 dark arts, run away. But it's the same as doing a good digital campaign, but you use it in a physical form. So it has real impact. And in your marketplace, you may be the only one using it, which gives you a huge first mover advantage. Or if in your marketplace others are doing it, you can do it better, because quite a few people, everybody focuses on the bright, shiny digital space where you've got so many things going on. But actually, if you use all of the insight that you harvest from that and use it in a physical, happy days, you get all of the benefits that I've kind of outlined. So I'm hoping in half an hour I have covered off just an insight into the way that you could use print as part of an integrated part of your ongoing marketing communications to your customers, either for landing new customers, land expand, reactivate, or referral. On all four of those kind of stages of a life cycle of a customer, you can use print at the same time as using your digital, and it's better together. You don't use one or the other alone, because obviously it's you have strengths and weaknesses in all media. But if you blend them together, then that is a fantastically powerful way of approaching your marketplace, whether it be a B2C or a B2B marketplace where you're dealing with, or even just engaging people as if you're a consultant, when you're just trying to outreach to people as thought leadership pieces, sending them physical copies of your thought leadership piece. It really does have cut through. It's amazing what the response is that you get. So thank you for listening. That is me. And now, if there is any, and I'm not entirely sure how I get onto the Q&A element, if anybody wants to ask me a question, you've got two choices. You can either email me, Simon Biltcliffe, or you can ask any questions that you have now before I head off into the wild blue yonder and carry on with my day job. Thanks for listening, and I shall wait here for around about a minute, looking rather stoic, Gandalf-like, some would say, and wait for any questions to pop up. I'm assuming I'm looking at the right thing, but apologies if I'm not. But and failing that, have a great rest of the day. Hope you're enjoying the conference that they're running today. All right, take care. I shall head off then. If there's nobody, I don't think. 3, 2, 1. It's a wrap. Ooh, stopping streaming 7. 8. There you go. See ya.